And I just ask for strength and wisdom as we go throughout our day and as we serve the community you've given us. And I also ask for love and forgiveness where there is division, not only in our community, but in our country and in our world. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the following test. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Thank you, Rebecca. Jay, you're going to introduce, except for maybe Wendell's people, because only Wendell can introduce them correctly.
Okay, bye. My introduction now?
Yeah, let's introduce guests first.
Okay, I'm very pleased today to have our head softball coach and assistant softball coach. Apparently, this is her first visit with us. Brittany Johnson, and we were sitting here, and our new superintendent said, my best friend growing up just signed to play softball at Union College. They're awesome. That's awesome. So, and I didn't mention, and all the good things that her best friend was saying about our community was so good to hear. And I've been in this business 35 years. I've never seen anybody have a group follow her like they follow her. So if you have a leadership thing, I mean, I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like it in my life. That's true. That's 35 years. I've never seen that like kids follow her anywhere. I've never seen that like. Brittany, introduce yourself and then put you here.
Yeah, I'm Brittany Johnson. I'm going to year 2 here at Georgia College. I was coaching down in Florida for my whole career, lived in Florida my whole career. So excited to be here, excited to meet more and more community members. Obviously, first year is a big learning curve as a head coach, trying to figure it all out. But this year, I think we'll definitely have our team more and more in the community as I get to meet more people. So I also have my assistant. This is Bridget Sosa. She actually played for me at St. Leo University, and she's coaching at Berry while getting her master's in sports psychology. So I got her to come up to Milledgeville from Miami, and she loves the small town feel. So loves being at the South. So we're very excited to be here.
Brittany was conference coach of the year first year, actually. So
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. We have one visitor with us from Sandersville. Actually, we have more than one, but the only one that I'm going to introduce is Jim Chilville. Welcome. We're glad to have you. Okay, let me see. During the program, our speaker will introduce his guest as well. So, Jim, I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind.
I wouldn't trust Jim to do anything.
You don't mind?
hey, Jimmy, by the way, what foundation board are you on? Georgia College. Georgia College.
274-6301.
6301. Oh, wow. Hey. Yeah.
How about my one fact? All right.
I've got a couple of announcements before we get started. RLI session is this Saturday. If anybody, is anybody else going besides me? I mean, I know I'm going. Anybody else going down to Valdosta for Saturday morning? So I guess nobody wants to carpool, huh? Okay. All right. You can still go and sign up though if you're interested. Committee participation. I really am hoping that we can fill out some of our committees. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year. Instead of doing committee meetings during a regular meeting and the chaos that creates, in my opinion, I will ask our committee chairs to hold their committee meetings virtually. We have Foundation with Herschel Scott. We have Youth Services with Jan Harden. Membership with Aaron, who's not here today. Programs with Stephanie. Finance with Fred. public image with Rebecca, and service projects with Kristen Villarreal. Oh, she is here. Oh, well, I have a special presentation for you, Kristen. Come on up. I didn't see you coming. Come on up, come on up, come on. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, so back in the list of things that the president should take care of, but, somehow didn't happen. In the first program, I think it was Kathy's program, somebody's program, we didn't have any rotary pins to give the presenter, and Kristen gave hers up. So we got the new rotary pins in, and there's your, thank you for giving up your pen for our time. It reminds me of what I was told when I first joined Rotary, and that was, if asked, the answer was yes. Now, the other thing that we're going to try a little bit different this year, I suspect, no offense to district governors, but we're not going to have a formal meeting with the district governor. Can I get a round of applause for that? What we are going to have is an evening social event with the Rotary Club of Macon, the Rotary Club of Jones County, and our club. It's going to be in Gray at the Bent Axle on Monday night, September 29th. We'll start putting that in the bulletin, but that's been set up. It'll be like a 5 or 5:30 start time. Come have some, and after work cocktail, but don't drive. Got the sheriff here. I have to behave. Have a snack, maybe even dinner at the Bent Axle in Gray, Georgia on Monday, the 29th of September.
At what time?
5 or 5:30. Haven't quite nailed that down. The president of Jones County and I will meet with the owner next week and sort that out. That's all I have for the moment. Stephanie, you'll introduce our programs.
So,
Yeah, whoa.
oh,
Yes.
I'll do a quick announcement. As everybody knows, I've sent out an email on the challenge over the Polio Plus. We've raised so far $1,150, so we're about $350 short of where we're at. We've got about 4 more days, today and then through the 10th. If anybody has it, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody that has it. I really do appreciate that and everything else, but if you haven't, if you feel like you want to, please do. I'm not asking for much. I mean, maybe minimum 25, but if you feel like giving more than that, that's fine. But 4 more days on the challenge, and then we'll close it out.
Any other announcements? I'm sorry.
But also, if you do give, it does count towards the Paul Harris giving, since it is Polio Plus, so it will work all that. So just let you know, please send me an email. Okay. I'll resend that.
Kristen, what you got?
Well, I'm gonna try and have our first service projects committee meeting early next week. And I would like some volunteers for our committee, because we really would like some fresh ideas. Jan is joining us, Aaron is going to join me. We're gonna support a Frederick, but he's on a district, actually realistic there. Laura Thompson, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Michelle Dixon, thank you very much, I appreciate that. Jennifer Pollard, excellent. Thank you.
And that reminds me, we have a service project coming up in coordination with the Impact Club for court-appointed special advocates for students. They still need gifts or money, either one. The money will be used to go buy the gifts, and the gifts are things like socks, book bags, underwear, hygiene items, diapers. And I just assume not have to go shop for those kinds of things. But I'm giving a contribution, and we need to get that to Aaron or to Crystal Law in the next couple of days, if you can. I'm sorry.
And William Black.
Oh, and William, okay. Where's William? right in front of you, of course. So you'll accept checks and all that for that project. And the stuffing is actually on August 15th at 4 o'clock at Crystal's office, which is Edward Jones. Other announcements before we introduce the program. Sorry about that.
All right. Well, today we have, a program is on the Baldwin County Real-Time Crime Center. Is that right? Real-Time Crime Center. I will let, our Sheriff Massey introduce, Lieutenant Johnson, who's going to be talking about it. But give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon. I appreciate y'all inviting us to come speak with y'all. And I stopped and I spoke with Coach Johnson because, you know, we recruit everywhere we go. And a few months ago, some of my people said, let's have a breakfast at Arcadia. Let's go down there and we'll feed college students. We'll have a tent. We'll have a little breakfast. So this young lady walked up to us and we were recruiting and she said, I've already graduated from Georgia College and I'd like to be a deputy sheriff. And I said, well, we're really glad to hear that. Her name's J.C. Haycraft and she played 4 years, I think, ball at Georgia College and State University. And we'll take all you'll send us to, by the way. So anyway, J.C. Haycraft came to see us that day. We had 2 slots in mandate school and one of them couldn't go. So within 2 weeks, she went from, I'd like to be a deputy sheriff to she is now currently in mandate school in Forsyth and doing really well. And Evelyn will talk to y'all about the collaboration we're doing with Georgia College. But in all candor with y'all, we really have got an unbelievable interaction and collaboration with them. And we've been really pleased. We've really been recruiting some people. I started graduate school there. I don't want to hear it. Started graduate school there 2 years ago. And you know, sometimes people say the universe does things for you. I've been telling all my people, I said, look, we're going to start an intelligence program. And I'm going to hire somebody to be our analyst. And we're going to buy every kind of software we can hire. And we're fixing to be a leader here in Middle Georgia. So my first class, we do all this by Zoom. So I'm in this Zoom class. And we had to introduce ourselves and tell them what we did for a living. I looked up and boom, up pops this young lady. And she said, my name's Evelyn Johnson. I graduated from Mercer in analytics. I did an internship, 2 interns with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and I want to be an analyst. I immediately sent her a text message and I said, hey, this is Bill Massey. I'm the sheriff here in Baldwin County, and I'm going to start from scratch an intelligence program with a real-time crime center or whatever we can do. And I met with her, and I know this sounds really strange. Sometimes things just happen right. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I've been telling people that's what we're going to do for public safety in this community. I had no earthly idea how to do it. I knew what we needed to do, and I met with her, and from the first conversation we had, we were so online, it was almost like for the last 2 years prior, we'd been sitting down plotting about what we're going to do. So anyway, we worked this out, and I'm going to tell y'all that this has been an unbelievable relationship I've had with her as an employee. But for you people that live here in this community and for the public safety health of our community, I'm going to tell you she's the best hire that I've done in many, many years. She is not only very smart, but she's very interested in what she does. And I know she gets mad when I say this, but in my class, I told Dr. Dowd, I said, Dr. Dowd, I'm recruiting in the class. She said, oh, I knew you were going to do that. I said, well, I think I've hired an analyst. She said, well, do you mind if I ask you who you're hiring? And I said, Yeah, I'm talking to Evelyn Johnson. She said, well, Bill, she's not smart. She's brilliant. And I still have that same opinion. I'd like to introduce y'all to Evelyn Johnson. She's our lieutenant that runs our real-time crime center. She has also been through mandate school. She not only has a master's, but she's a mandated law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia, and we're extremely pleased to have her.
No. Sit on the ground. You're on the ground. You're about to push it. Back up, Wendy.
Oh, there. Well,
Just give it to me.
okay.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. I'll talk a little bit about where I'm from. I'm not from Georgia. I come from Harris County, so Pine Mountain. Yes, sir, that's where I grew up. Grew up there. I'm a county kid, born and raised. Moved to Middle Georgia, never left. Fell in love with it. I'm very happy to be in Milledgeville. I've been with the office for about a little over 2 years now. I loved every second of it, and I'm very excited to present what we've just launched. We're in our 12th week of operation in the Real-Time Crime Center. I'm very excited to just kind of showcase today what we're able to do. I'm just now starting 3 months ago. Okay, so what is a Real-Time Crime Center? That's the big question, right? Everybody wants to know. All right, there's a couple words that I want you to take away. One is central. What we have done is we have put all of our software and all of our records, all of our resources that we as law enforcement use to do our job in one place. Okay? Proactive. That's the next word I want you guys to take away. Law enforcement is ultimately a reactive profession. The Real-Time Crime Center is trying to change that. We're trying to be a little bit more proactive and preventative. So we're trying to prevent crime. We're trying to be a little bit more proactive in our response to crime. And our technology enables us to do that. And the last word I want you to take away is a unified response. We are working with our other local agencies, the police department, our task forces, our state agency with EPI, DEA, and FBI are all working together now to coordinate and create an intelligence unit. So we're now coordinating with multiple agencies to make sure we're all on the same page, because law enforcement is good at a lot of things, but what we're not good at is talking to each other. And the Real-Time Crime Center is changing that. Okay. Our mission statement at the Real-Time Crime Center is to provide efficient, deliberate, and improved operational intelligence. And we're trying to do this through a proactive lens. And my operators and our deputies live and breathe by this mission statement. And I think they've already shown our efficacy. What does it look like? So every day we have 3 to 4 operators that are in place. And something really, really unique that we've done in our program is we are actually working in conjunction with Georgia College. Our Real-Time Crime Center is staffed by college students, which is a really new thing, but it has been incredibly successful. We have 4 incredible interns. To even step foot in the sheriff's office, they had to go through the same hiring process that any of our deputies do. So from a panel interview all the way through a polygraph. So they are considered equal in the eyes of to any of our other employees. So these are the highest standards that we could place on these students. And they are living up to it. So what we have right now is we have 3 to 4 of them in office every day running our Real-Time Crime Center. They run radio, they run a lot of software, they're helping with casework. It's an incredible hands-on experience. As someone who worked a coffee and filing internship, this is not that. This is getting real experience, and they're gonna know real quickly whether or not they can do the job. And these 4 are incredible. One other thing that we're doing for them that the sheriff has promised is that we are offering them a full hiring packet. Because they have been up to the point of a polygraph and a hiring packet, any agency they want to go to, they're already fully vetted. So we have that's the collaboration we have with the college right now, is we can give them a fully vetted candidate to walk onto any agency in the state. In my eyes and in the sheriff's eyes, we say the sheriff's same view. is that a win for law enforcement, an additional employee, whether it's our agency or not, is a win for law enforcement in general. Because everyone knows that we're all short-staffed, so if we can provide another set of hands, that's a win in my eyes. So that's the program that we're working with the college currently. We are not 24/7 yet. We are learning to walk before we can run. But we are running up to 16 hours a day. We have several shift positions that we are all working together with. And we are working right directly with patrol all throughout those 16 hours. Okay. So what does the job look like every day? So our main duties is to monitor our real-time data. We are monitoring over radio, so we are directly assisting patrol. We are 200 over radio, so if we hear 200, a deputy asks us for information and we provide. That's our main job. We are additionally helping our detectives with casework. So a big part of my job before this promotion was working directly with investigations on generating leads, creating suspect lists, and creating jury-ready products. And that work has not stopped. We've just expanded our capabilities. We have more hands that are able to do that. So we're getting some faster case resolutions because we've got more hands to help with that. Additionally, we're also continuing our open source monitoring. That's open source data. Open source data is any data that is publicly available. All right. We're all business leaders. If you don't have a public-facing Facebook page, maybe you use for your business, or you have a public-facing Instagram or LinkedIn page. Okay, so that's what's called a public-facing, and law enforcement can use that data. Really, anyone can use it, access it and figure out. That's what we're tracking. So we are watching what our community is talking about, what they're worried about. That's another way we're trying to shift towards a more proactive lens. We're watching what our community is talking about online. We are also sort of becoming an eye in the sky for our deputies, where they're back up, their guy in the chair, if you will. Anybody ever watch Criminal Minds? Yep. Okay. All right. So we are Penny. We are the guy in the chair. I can't zoom into a camera and magically identify a person, but what I can do is when that officer is responding to that 911 call or that domestic, and all they have is a name and an address, our job is to tell them what that is, their criminal history, and anything else we can give that officer. So when they walk through that door, they know exactly what they're walking through, which is incredibly important for officer safety. It's something that I'm really, really proud of. Additionally, we are helping them with body worn, we're helping them with drones. So we have really become their guy in the chair, their eye in the sky. I've talked about the collaboration with their agencies, but we're not just helping our agency, we have opened the doors. So anyone can walk through our door and go, hey, I need help, which is super important to me. We're trying to open up the communication, and the good way to do that is to be very transparent and keep it open. We've had GBI walk through the door, FBI, DEA, our gang task force, the city. It's been an incredible collaboration, and the more that we communicate with each other, the better we are as a public safety unit in general. This is a general map of what our blueprint looks like. We are in the final stages, as of next week, of finishing our installation. To be very clear, we actually started our interns on picnic tables. They do not have the consoles. We had a bunch of supply issues, but the sheriff and I decided that we're not going to hold off. We're going to get it going. And they are doing the work off of picnic tables, and we're doing good work off those picnic tables. We've had some good case clearances come off those picnic tables. But what it looks like, as soon as we get our consoles installed next week, we will 100% make sure that the public can come see it. We want you guys to come look at it and see what we're doing. But what does the room look like? We call this main area, this is how the pointer, it does. The main area we call the bullpen. This is where our operators sit and work every day. We'll have 4 consoles, and there's a giant video wall. Picture with me, if you will. It's a 55-inch TV times 12. Okay? Big wall of displays that we're able to cast anything we need to cast up there. If we are activated as a unit, we've got an exit situation or anything that we need to push there or push towards our command staff, we can do that. Which the real-time crime center has definitely become a hub where everybody comes to when we've got something big going on. Alright. This is kind of an update. I wish I could come show you guys this, but these are what our consoles will look like. Once we get them next week. I'm very excited. I know it's not just me that's I know our interns are excited to get off of our picnic tables too. We're gonna watch 2 videos after the presentation that I'll show you guys about a little bit about what a real-time crime center looks like in action. We are modeled after the top real-time crime center in the nation, which is Cobb County. It's 3 years in a row running, the top in the nation. Their case clearance is at 100% for violent crimes. Yeah. It's incredible. I just spoke with their director at a conference I went to earlier this week, and they're on track at continuing with that clearance rate. So we are trying to be like them. That's my goal, is to model after them. We're gonna look at a little bit about what that will look like and give you guys an idea about all this technology I'm about to look at, because I can talk all day, but to show you is another. All right. So let's talk technology. What are we using every day? So Flock Safety is our main company. This is what we live in. As everybody knows about the license plate readers, they're the cameras on the black poles that take pictures of the license plate. Okay, we're going to year 3 of having those installed. This is one of the things that we use. If you look in the bottom right, that's the image that we get of your vehicles. So if you're curious about what we receive, that is what we receive. Okay. When we run an image, just a general search for all of our cameras for a 12-hour period, what is that? Almost a little over 4,300 images that are produced for our county. We have 92 Flock LPR cameras within county. Anytime we have a felon who's registered to a certain vehicle, if we have a stolen vehicle, anything like that, if they hit within our county, we know. And we are actively able to track that vehicle. So as far as our apprehension rates, this has been a game changer. All right, we can search by our vehicle make, model. If you got a sticker on your back windshield, if you have damage on your rear quarter panel, whatever you got, we can search that vehicle. Okay. All right, our main operating system that the Real-Time Crime Center utilizes is called Flock OS. So Flock OS is able to eat camera footage. So what we're going to be doing, and what we've already started doing, is we've gone to most of local businesses who have road-facing cameras, and we're asking for those live camera feeds. So when Flock puts a little doohickey on your VMS system, your video monitoring system, and you choose which camera streams you want to give us access to, and we're able to access that. So when one of our officers goes into, let's just say, a chase, and we have a general vehicle description, maybe he didn't have time to get that plate. What I can do is put that vehicle description in Flock and give a general direction, and all those cameras that are going by are going to pull up. So the end goal is, if we are looking for a vehicle or an individual, we're not going to lose sight of them, which increases officer safety and community safety because we know exactly where they are. So the odds of us happening to faster or less damage to community property, public property, or whatever is going to go down because we don't lose sight of them. Okay. In addition to business cameras, we can also ingest private cameras. So if you have a HOA camera, if you have a Ring doorbell camera, if you have a trail camera, maybe a part of your property is trespassed on a lot and you'd like that to stop, this is also an option. There are 2 options with us. You can register your camera, which basically just puts it as a dot on my map. So let's say we have a string of people pulling on car door handles. I can go tell that deputy, hey, I know this person and this person has a Ring camera and you might have some footage, and I'll go knock on your door. If you want to give us live access to those streams, you can integrate those cameras just like you would a business camera. And I would encourage you to do that. There is a website that is on our the sheriff's office website. There's a link now that you can go and now integrate your camera streams, your business or otherwise. The more buy-in we have to it, the better we're able to create community safety. So this is an active involvement with our communities. This only works if you guys, if you guys buy in, right? The other Flock platform that we use every single day is called Flock Nova. It's a really cool name, but it's also a really cool product. Flock Nova is able to ingest all of our RMS data, which is our records management system, as well as our jail management system, which is a massive amount of data, millions and millions of data points. It also is capable of ingesting open source data. So everybody remember we used to have phone books in our houses? And you can flip to the phone book and there's somebody's address and phone number. Okay, and you might get some of their relatives. Well, that information didn't go away, it's just now online, right? And so what Nova is able to do is sort of access those records and that information. So what I can do now is if we have a subject, maybe we only have a nickname, and maybe his nickname is Cookie, okay? I can now go into Nova and type in Cookie. And anytime our agency has ever touched Cookie, it will pull it. So if he's gotten a traffic ticket and he gave the nickname Cookie, there it is on the traffic ticket. I've also got all the vehicles that he has attached to the name Cookie. If he was ever booked within our facility, now I've got pictures of him from his mugshots. So it is that fast. And what it's doing on the open source side is maybe the alias is Cookie, but on his Facebook profile, he's got Cookie, but he's also got his real name, which is, let's just say it's James Thomas. And now I've got an actionable lead. So now we're chasing his real name. That's how that works. We can start from a phone number. We can start from an address. We can start from an email address, whatever our deputies or our detective has. That's our start point. That's where we start working. It is an incredible tool. It almost makes me mad how fast it pulls information. To give you an example of how effective this tool is, we had a stream of ATM thefts last year. Yeah. Okay. It took me 2 weeks to find a common vehicle plate that hit at all those locations and then get to a short list. I put this into Flock Nova, same data. It was able to look at all the common plates, give me a short list of vehicles and who was attached to those vehicles in 30 seconds. Wow. Remember when I said it almost made me mad? This has been an incredible tool. We are able to do more in less time. So we are getting closer to that real-time crime aspect of this. So when our officers are en route to the call, which our average call time is sitting right now at between 90 seconds and a little bit more, in that 90 seconds, my operators are giving them more information than they've gotten in weeks from me in seconds. It's insane that we can automatically push into their CAD. And for an officer who's responding to something that maybe all they've got is a name, an address, and what that person on the phone said was happening, to be able to tell them, hey, we know this is a registered gun owner, or hey, this is somebody who's fought with the police before, or hey, we booked this guy for a couple times, or hey, there's a felon in that house, you might want to grab another 2 officers. It's an incredible difference in officer safety. And that goes both ways too. Because if we can better provide our officers with more information, it's going to make our community safer too, because officers know better about how to respond to that situation. Okay. All right, we're going to show you what Clearview AI does. This is our facial recognition software. It's been all over the news recently. Okay, it's about 5 years old, and I'm going to tell you right now that our agency does it the right way. So there's a right and a wrong way to do this. We do not use facial recognition as an identification tool. Okay, what we use it is as a lead generator. So we put an image into Clearview AI of a face, and it will search all open source records. So if you're like me, you don't have a public facing social media because you're a crazy analyst and you don't like that. Or maybe, maybe you're like me and you're just a very private person. Well, that doesn't matter because a newspaper has taken your picture. You went to a high school and they've definitely taken your picture. Or maybe your grandma just really, really is proud of you and likes to post about you. Or your aunt or your uncle or your sister or your brother, whatever. So your image is still out there, okay? Maybe it just takes me a few more steps to get to you. Which it will pull me, I promise, I'm gonna show you guys. And what it does is it pulls all of those open records in one place and provides us a good idea of where the individual is from, who the individual knows, and a possible identification. So we take that, and then we have to go through 2 more layers of verification. So I asked my operators to go and find me 2 more places that you can attach that name to that individual before I can go, hey, this is so-and-so. This is James Thomas. Okay? The ways that we do that is through tattoos, prominent facial features. If we see a particular vehicle they're attached to, some things that are going to stay consistent throughout photos is what we're looking for. We had a case, it was an armed robbery that went cold. What is about a year old? Sheriff, about a year old. Okay, it's about a year old. We had literally just bought Clearview, ran a search, got a positive result in seconds, attached him to a mugshot database out of Florida, called their jail and they said, hey, yeah, we got it. So we went and got that dude. And when I tell you he was a little bit surprised about why Millersville, Georgia was calling him up there. Thought he got away with that one. But for our folks who come in here and they're not from Millersville and think they can commit a criminal action and leave because no one knows them, that's not really the case anymore. We have something to back us up there as well. Okay. And I will show you what that looks like in a video, I promise. We're gonna run my husband through it. Shadow Dragon. So this is another one of our open source tools. This is what we call an OSNIT scraper. And OSNIT means open source intelligence. So what it does is it starts from any of those start points we talked about, name, alias, your username online, an email address, and pulls everything it can. And this really cool spider web. It has been an incredible lead generator. We can develop someone's digital footprint, which is basically your history of your online activity. Just about all of us in the room have one. If all of us had done a little bit better about, I don't know, 20 years ago about keeping our digital footprints down, you would have been okay. But at this point, all of our information has been bought and sold so many times that everyone has a digital footprint. Your entire identity, I promise you, has been bought and sold in the time I've been speaking thousands of times. That's just the reality of the modern world. The cool thing about this is that previously in public safety, to access this information, sometimes law enforcement would have to create what we call sock puppet accounts. A sock puppet account is basically a fake profile that you use to passively access some of this information. We don't have to do that anymore, which looks a lot better in court. Shadow Dragon is a third party that pulls that information without us ever having to actually touch those profiles. Bad guys are getting smarter, so they know that we're accessing their social medias. But if I can use Shadow Dragon to get the information and download all of their posts, their likes, their comments, I don't ever actually have to touch the page anymore. So it's been a game changer for real. Okay. Another big change that we brought to the agency is that we're actually able to do a little bit of digital forensic work, which is basically just being able to look at phones, cars, watches, computers in-house. Prior to this, we had to submit devices to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, their DFI lab, and it would be months before we would get returns on that device. If we're working a high-profile case, that is a big deal to lose that information that you know is on the cell phone for that long. So this has been a real game changer. It's keeping our leads fresh, it's keeping our investigations fresh, and it means that our case clearance rate goes up because we're not having to wait that huge gap of time to get the actionable information off of the device. So any USB-C or USB-A compatible device, we can now access. So maybe our bad guy deleted everything off of his cell phone, but he forgot to delete everything off his watch. I can still get into it. A lot of people forget about the fact that your phone, if your vehicle You have a Bluetooth enabled vehicle, all those text messages and phone calls and GPS, all of that is in the car still. I always tell people if you ever get in a rental car, when you leave, delete your data before you go out. Okay. Last thing I'm going to talk about is our jury ready products. It's really, really important, especially for our officers who don't necessarily have time to sit down and create a map or a pack of travel, whatever they have to do. They have enough to do, right? They're our officers, they're our boots on the ground. So what we have in-house is called PinLink. We call it PLX. It's an analysis software, so it will generate me a map. It will generate me a link analysis graph, a path of travel, anything like that in seconds. So we're actually able to create jury-ready products that haven't been seen in trial and are very much appreciated by our ADAs in seconds. And they're professional, they look good, and they get convictions. Okay. All right, I'm going to back up to our flock page because I forgot to talk about one thing. With our Flock OS program, another piece of in addition to the camera footage, is if we get a hit on a Flock plate, that license plate reader, we're able to actually real-time route that vehicle. So if I hit a camera A, it's going to send me an alert. The screen red, goes crazy, and then it's going to provide a potential route of travel and show you who your closest deputy is. So now we're able to dispatch deputies in seconds and say, hey, they're going to hit camera B in 2 minutes, and you're sitting in that intersection. Don't move. So when if we're in a chase, or if we're in a situation where we have a felon who comes into county, instead of us chasing them all over county, I know exactly where they're going to be and when they're going to be there. So our dispatching is becoming a lot more efficient. Our deployment of deputies is becoming faster and more efficient because we're able to actually pinpoint where those vehicles are going to be. So it's very, very cool. All right, you want to see the videos now?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, absolutely.
First, I want to say to you and Bill, thank you to your entire team in the sheriff's department for keeping us safe, and this is great. But we're a split city and county. So my question to you is, how does this apply to the police? I mean, do they have the same thing? Are y'all working directly with the police?
So we work in conjunction. The county covers the entire county jurisdiction. So generally, if we've got MPD officers that are closer, that's a dispatch decision. But most of the time, I mean, we work together very closely. Would you agree? This information is being shared with them. If it's going to be faster and more efficient for me to send an officer or a police officer up there, I'm going to do that.
Good question. Let me say, as part of the 90-something flock cameras we have are in the city, and the city pays for them. So we partner with them on this.
So do you have all the resources you need?
So we are.
You shouldn't ask us that. Commissioners, if it wasn't by county commissioners, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Right.
They looked at this very proactively, and they funded it. I have some ideas, but we can't do it without funding right now. They supported what we do.
All right. I'm trying. Get it up there. There it goes. Okay. All right, so the first video we're gonna watch, this is a demonstration of what Clearview AI can do. The individual that's in the top left of the photo in the striped shirt, okay, that's my husband Jacob. So the reason why I like to use Jacob is because, one, I did not know how open his social media was before this, so it's great. You know, you might not know that your social media is open. how much information can yarn a search like this. So it's a good eye opener for anyone who's curious. But also he has a very recognizable face. I've got a huge head of hair, so it's relatively fine in the photo. All right, so let's check it out. Hopefully this will go. Maybe. Okay, there it goes. I think it's running now. There we go. It's running. Okay. So that's how fast it is. It just pulled results, and there's his name, Jacob Mack. What it just did is it found one of the Facebook profiles, which I leave open just for this. When I'm looking at Facebook profiles, of course, you see my name, you see us together. You're seeing him tagged a lot in Macon. You'll see him tagged through Mercer University a lot. So already as an analyst, I've already figured out he was part of a fraternity. He went to Mercer University. I know the year he graduated. He's still tagged a lot in Macon, so he's probably still hanging out there. The further down you go, they found him all the way in the back of that crowd. The further down you go, the less likely these individuals are going to be your target, right? It's also going to progress and regress age. So as we scroll down, you'll see some individuals that are not Jacob, but it thinks they are. Okay. Any question about theory? Pretty fast. Pretty
finish our spouse.
Not worried about me. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna talk through this video. This is Cobb County. This is their real-time crime center. This is the direction we're going to, and we have a video in production for us. They get a hit on Flock at 10:34 a.m. It's on a stolen U-Haul. That stolen U-Haul has now been located. Wow. They are not going to lose sight of this vehicle the entire time that this call is being dispatched. The Arctic unit, which is just shorthand for real-time crime center, has already dispatched the nearest deputy based on that Flock OS system, and that deputy is now en route. The real-time crime center also knows, based on their open source searches they've done on the individual who stole the U-Haul from the lot, because they ran a facial recognition on him, that he is a wanted felon. He is known to be armed and dangerous, so the officer, you're going to see him perform what we call the felony stop. And that real-time crime center is actively delivering this intelligence to the officer as he's responding to the call. Still haven't lost sight of that case. And there's apprehension. So what is that, 9 minutes? Which is, if you don't live in law enforcement world, which is okay, this is an incredible apprehension from what we are normally able to do. It's a big difference. You'll see him drop keys and start to come out of that vehicle. This is where we want to be, and this is why it's so important for you guys to also buy into it, because the only way that we're able to get this done in our area of responsibility is if we have the buy-in from the community, if we can get those access to those camera streams. But this is where we want to be. Any questions just in general? That's the end of my talk. So thank you.
The newspaper took this picture of me the other day, getting in the floor. Does that mean I'm gonna be arrested? You know that? Thank you.
Maybe that is, will obviously pull you up. And that picture will come up in our system.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and you know, thankfully, my wife doesn't have an open face cam. TikTok.
Any questions?
We have a tradition here that we give a book to the local library in honor of our speaker. And we're not going to pay any attention to him. We'd like you to have it and a pen to sign with and Okay. All right, a couple of quick announcements, and then I'll leave you with my moment of Zen. My moment of Zen was, one of them was provided by our server. He came up to me after last week's jokes, and he says, "Why does the golfer bring an extra pair of socks to the golf course?" In case he gets a hole in one. All right, so, and this next moment of Zen might give you an insight as to how come I have so much trouble interpersonally. You want to know the difference between who your best friend is, okay? Put your dog and your spouse in the trunk of your car, lock the trunk, and come back in an hour. One of them will be very happy to see you. With that, we're adjourned.
She just came on. Oh, yeah, I got this too. Thank you, Shannon. We do, you know, we talk about it. This week.
Yeah.
Last 4 weeks. We gotta get it.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. This girl.
You have
My first time. I got an email today back.
I'll take that. Thank you.
So today's his birthday, I just took today.
Yes.
I took today.
Yes.
Told him-
Hey.
Yeah, no, he said he- it's just got a free now.
Yes, thank you. I do.
Yes, and then. That's why he works. He can do
It's funny, the other day, Jimmy, turns out the case that I had referred out years ago. Just got the money coming in. I said, are you sure you don't want to buy the car? I said, yes, I'm sure. I don't want it. I like to live. But when I explained it to her, she goes, you're right. So between administrations and all sorts of changes. Who knows?
That's right. You don't know what the next day.
All right, thank you.
I'll see you. Thank you.
So we're very excited.
Hey, ladies. How y'all doing?
Hey, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. I know I saw you in national news, you know, you put on this, says extra, the president of this thing now. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
She's about to, this is really tough. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yes, that's what you, that's what you get, that's all I did.
It'll help it enamors it a little bit.
Right.
You know, we go out and we'll have.
Oh, man. It's funny, I was just telling Michelle that, we were talking, I was like, I don't know why I've never been to, so I didn't get the master's. Yeah, it's something drove up there.
Grab
Yes.
Is this one you want?
I
There's
didn't
another one on this side. Oh, that's for this.
That's. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I got you, bud. All right, this is